Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Tuesday, 11th November 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. The United States military build-up in the Caribbean proceeds unabated. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Tensions between the United States and Venezuela have escalated after a U.S. military operation targeted a suspected drug smuggling vessel in the Caribbean, resulting in the deaths of 3 men. Washington claims the strike was part of its anti-narcotics mission, while Caracas condemned the attack as a violation of its sovereignty. We On News has more.
The massive U.S. military build-up and anti-narcotic operations in the Caribbean has inflamed tensions with Venezuela and its leader Nicolas Maduro. A new report now claims that Trump administration is planning to scale up the deployment, and the report claims that U.S. is examining sites to send additional military assets to the Caribbean as Trump weighs on the next plan of action. A report in the war zone citing a U.S. official said that Washington is conducting site surveys to see if more military assets could be deployed in the region. The report said that it is not clear what kind of equipment or platforms were to be deployed or a particular timeline for reaching a decision. The report further attributed open source investigators to document various military assets being moved in El Salvador, including an AC-130 Ghost Rider gunship and a Navy PSA reconnaissance plane, while a third military aircraft, the unmarked C-40 Clipper, was also spotted. The report said that deployments indicated an expanding U.S. footprint in the Caribbean. Apart from these platforms, the report added that there are at least 8 surface vessels, a nuclear fast attack submarine, and a special operations mothership present near Venezuela. An array of F-35B stealth fighters, airlifters, MQ-9 Reaper drones alongside 10,000 troops are also stationed in the region. However, current position of the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford was unclear. The report observed that there are signs showing some of the mentioned assets being utilized in the recent strikes on alleged drug boats. Moreover, it read that while Trump administration was busy mulling its options about striking targets inside Venezuela, the U.S. would continue its campaign against narco boats. The report comes after CNN reported that U.S. administration had decided not to carry out land strikes against Venezuela since there was no legal justification for such attacks. At the same time, Washington has defended its decision to conduct the strikes by declaring drug cartels to be unlawful combatants. Meanwhile, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro said that his government was not concerned at all about U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean. Maduro also drew inspiration from Hollywood to take a jibe at the perceived U.S. superiority with respect to South Americans. He said, Americans think life is a bad Hollywood movie where they're always the heroic Rambo-style winners, while Latinos, Mexicans, Colombians, Venezuelans, Caribbeans, and Africans are portrayed as villains. He concluded that US was delusional as their empire was heading towards a decline.
A delegation of government officials from the Bahamas delivered hurricane relief supplies to Jamaica. Diane Dorset of ZNS News was there and filed this report.
This winds and rain swept across Jamaica last week, destroying homes and flooding neighborhoods. Now, regional partners, including the Bahamas, are on the ground, assessing the damage and lending a hand in the country's recovery. Leading the delegation, the Honorable Leon Lundy, Minister of State for Disaster Risk Management, says the trip is about unity.
When one Caribbean nation is hurting, all Caribbean nations must answer the call. The images of devastation across St. Elizabeth, St. Andrew, and Savannah, Lemar have touched us deeply. We have seen communities uprooted, infrastructure damaged, and livelihoods swept away in a matter of hours. But even amid the loss, what stands tall is the strength of the Jamaican spirit. This is a nation that knows how to rise, how to rebuild, and how to lead with courage.
Both countries say their shared experiences with hurricanes make these partnerships essential. Executive Director of SEDEMA, Elizabeth Riley, says regional support is helping to speed up the recovery process.
Well, the Caribbean community, we are brothers and sisters of each other. And in times of disaster, when our sister states are impacted, the familial approach of the Caribbean really comes to the surface, and there's always an overpouring of love, support in tangible and intangible ways for our sister states. We see it demonstrated here today.
$2 million of funds and supplies, including almost 5,000 bottles of water, 5,000 pounds of tarp, medical supplies provided by the Ministry of Health, and backpacks provided by the BAISS were donated. Juliet Holness, Speaker of the House and a Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrews, says this donation demonstrates the strong ties we hold.
There exists a long history of positive bilateral relations between the people of Jamaica and the people of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. Over the years, the government of both countries have worked together to foster and promote greater ties between our people.
This is the first part in a series of donations rendered by the Bahamas government. Reporting from St. Andrews Parish, Jamaica for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Diane Dorset.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
As Guyanese ready themselves to cash in before year end, a bank account is not a mandatory requirement. More in this HGP Nightly News item with Travis Chase.
The confusion surrounding President Irfan Ali's recent announcement when he urged citizens to open bank accounts to facilitate an intended cash grant transfer before the end of the year has been cleared up by General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic and Vice President Barrett Jackdale.
Nobody will be denied their cash grant because they don't have a bank account, but it's good to do that. So we're obsessing over this issue.
Mr. Jackdale, who was speaking during his Thursday afternoon press conference, explained that the government will establish financial hubs in several areas to make the process easier for citizens across the country.
You can't have a bank in every area, but you may be able to have in some central areas like terminals where people can go and access cash. So say the 5 sub-districts in Region 9, they can all have like a central area where people can go, like Letem, Anai, Karasabai, or Aishalton.
He noted that government has learned from the last cash grant distribution exercise and will apply those lessons to ensure smoother delivery this time around.
Like some of the places when we gave checks in Region 1, a lot of people couldn't even cash their checks too. You know, we had to go back in several times. People became a little dissatisfied with us because we gave the checks, but they said we have the checks and we can't get our money. And then they blame us for it too. So we then had to work out all sorts of arrangements.
Earlier this week, President Irfan Ali announced that before year end, he will unveil a series of measures, not only cash grants, but also initiatives aimed at the total empowerment of every Guyanese.
When the president urged people to set up the bank account, we are hoping that more and more people will be doing this and then it's easier for us to put money. You don't have to go and join a line to get your money or something like that.
Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
In the meantime, a bomb threat prompted heightened security at the Georgetown Magistrate Court with moves for immediate evacuations. Travis Chase again has more for us.
You need to know that there was heightened security at the Georgetown Magistrates Court Friday morning after authorities were alerted to a bomb threat. The report prompted an immediate evacuation of the courthouse as police and fire officials moved in to assess the situation. Authorities were called to the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Friday morning following reports of a bomb threat that led to the swift evacuation of staff, attorneys, and other persons within the compound. According to reports, court operations were temporarily suspended as law enforcement officials cordoned off the area and conducted searches in and around the building. A usually reliable source told Nightly News that, quote, there have been no reports of any explosive device found, and investigations are ongoing to determine the source of the threat. The incident caused a temporary disruption to court proceedings, with several cases being postponed as a precautionary measure. Sniffer dogs were also deployed. Several persons were also stopped and searched by police in and around the Georgetown Magistrates Court. Police investigators are continuing their probe to determine who may be behind the threat. At around 10:57 a.m., operations at the Georgetown Magistrates Court had resumed under tightened security. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Stay with us. You're watching the HGP.
The Guyana Revenue Authority, GRA, has withdrawn and discontinued multi-million-dollar tax-related charges against the businessman and Member of Parliament Azruddin Mohammed and his father Nizar Mohammed. Here is HGP's Travis Chase with more.
When embattled Member of Parliament Azruddin Mohammed and his father Nizar Mohammed appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Thursday to answer fresh tax-related charges filed by the Guyana Revenue Authority, they were informed that all charges had been withdrawn and discontinued. Attorney at law for the father and son Sayan Dejean told reporters after the hearing that the Guyana Revenue Authority had embarked on what he described as a fishing expedition.
I asked the prosecutors of the GRA why it was withdrawn. They could not give a reason. They said it was above their pay grade. But we know why the charges were withdrawn. The charges were withdrawn because this was a fishing expedition.
The GRA had claimed that following an extensive audit of the company's gold export records and financial statements, there was alleged underreporting. Attorney Dejean believes that the GRA may have used the charges as bait for bargaining.
They filed the charges to see if we would come to the table and try to bargain with them to alleviate some or all of the taxes. We did no such thing. They have no evidence to substantiate any of these 10 charges, which charge them with under-declaring very colossal amounts of income tax to the tune of billions of dollars without presenting a shred of evidence.
It has since come to light that Mohammed's enterprise had filed formal objections with the GRA within the legal time frame after receiving their notices of assessment.
Up to Friday, I think, is the deadline for us to raise our objection. So I don't know if they have misapprehended the rights and powers of a taxpayer under law. But I think that the charges it was realized last minute that the charges were badly brought.
Meanwhile, the embattled MP and the leader of the We Invest in Nationhood Party, Azruddin Mohammed, continues to insist that all his legal troubles are part of a campaign of political persecution.
The charges are frivolous and vexatious, trumped-up charges, baseless. We will win all these matters in the court. We are innocent, by the blessings of Almighty God. It's just political persecution, nothing more than this.
No one from the Guyana Revenue Authority was available for comment when contacted on Thursday. The father and son, who have been indicted by a U.S. grand jury on charges of conspiracy, mail and wire fraud, money laundering and gold smuggling, are currently challenging an extradition request from the United States in the Georgetown Magistrates Court. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.